On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick are back with another listicle, but this time the bad guys and gals get to shine. If you didn't like their 15 coolest Jedi picks, then maybe you'll be down with their dark side counterparts. That's right, this week they honor the 15 most badass-ass looking Sith of all time. They'll riff on the new Andor trailer too, and of course the usual random tangents that pop into Matt's head. Of course they'll end the show with Question of the Week responses and the latest round of Top 5 Fan Artist Features. Punch it, Chewie.
Hey, now they have come back. They are ready to play. They hid away last week, Nick, but here they are. The SWTSers are in effect. They hate the Jedi. They love the Sith.
Hey, that's just the truth, though. Sith are better than Jedi.
That's
Everybody
right.
knows that.
That's right. You all are getting on board with the dark side finally, and I appreciate that. I kind of feel like changing my lights up today. Not that. How about this one? All right, that's better. That one makes me look super Casper, and I like that look, you know. I like looking pale white. Oh, my God, it's disgusting. I really do look like a ghost. Anyways, it's good to see you all. We missed some of you last week. Bat Nova's showing up. We got Mark Attack coming in here. Divided League. Mike jumped in early, and Johnny Osage. Good to see everybody. Good to see everyone. So we've got another action-packed show here. What's going on, my Star Wars guys? We've got some Sith to talk about. You know, some AI-looking Sith, some real Sith, canon Sith, legend Sith, maybe too many legend Sith, Sith with tits. You never know what's going to be on our 15 baddest-assed looking Sith of all time. That's right. We had to put coolest in the title, but we really meant baddest ass looking Sith, okay? Sith aren't cool, they are bad. So that's our special topic for today, but of course we've got the usual SWTS fare planned for you, a little Ask Us Anything, some pop culture talk. Of course, we'll dig into that new Andor trailer and poster that dropped on Monday, just in case you missed it. I decided to go solo live on Monday to talk about the new Andor drop, the poster, the trailer. Went through the trailer with some fans and discussed some interesting scenes that, of course, I will run by my wingman here, young Nick, to get his thoughts on that. Hey there, Joey Cog. Good to see you after a while. I'm guessing wrestling season is over and he is back to the SWTS live show. Good to see everyone. All right, Nick, there's no reason to piss around. Let's get right into it. Lots of stuff to talk about today. Some of the stuff we haven't posted. I don't know if you've seen on socials, but the Acolyte apparently has like a 20 times multiple demand for a canceled show. I don't know. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it's getting kicked around the Star Wars verse today. Apparently, for canceled shows, the Acolyte has the biggest fan base trying to get it renewed. Good luck, because I don't think Disney gives a shit. They're not Netflix people.
That also happens to every show that's recently canceled.
I know, and Netflix saves them, and there's no way Disney's letting them save the Acolyte.
So it's just got high demand. But also, one of the shows that's had the biggest demand for uncancellation or reinstatement for decades is Firefly.
Oh yeah, that's like I bet there's generations that probably don't even know what Firefly is anymore. It's been so damn long, dude.
For sure. Now for
so,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's always stuff to talk about. I was in the Discord today. We've got an open one. Check out the description of this video. But dude, I don't know. I know what's happening in the world, but it's like we've all of a sudden become bad guys to Star Wars fans based on the shorts and clips we put out from old shows. A lot of our like dual clips are hitting now, and it's hilarious to hear these people on YouTube accuse Nick and I of being in the dude bro verse with Star Wars theory. It is unbelievable. We truly live in the upside down at this point in time. It's like, hey people. It's a 20-minute long clip from a fucking 2-hour show where our two dumbasses have no script and just got to rip, roar, and let it go. Okay? Get over it. all you people out there casting stones in your glass houses, eat my tits. All right, now that I've addressed that, we can move on here. All right. Bring back In Living Color. That's right. Homie, don't play that. Get some. Fire Marshal Bill. Let me show you something. All right, Nick, ask us anything time. And boy, oh boy, did we have some questions. Maybe us shaming the fan base led to this. But we got a bunch of questions this week, so much so that I've had to hold some back. Some of you are ripping off more than one. We've got to be fair. Everyone gets a voice on the SWTS, except for young Nick. Okay? So here we go. Let's go ahead and switch things up here. Let's get our slacky wacky showing to everybody here. Unfortunately, I always show them our secret conversations. Not that anyone's going to pick up anything big there. But here we go. We've got some questions to rip through. There's some good ones, Star Wars ones, random ones, animal lover ones. You never know what the fans are going to throw at us here. All right, Nick, this is a good one. This is SM Wagner coming from our Discord. Not exactly sure who they are, but we speak their name and we love them. So they're asking, in a world where George takes back creative control, does E7 through 9 still canon? Or does Rey Skywalker exist? And where does E7, 8, 9 story go?
So I guess the question is if somehow George took over now and TFA, TLJ, and TROS still existed. I mean, I don't even know how to answer that question because it's really hard to know what he would do, but likely he wouldn't. I don't think that he would go back and just say that those movies don't exist.
Yeah,
so he would just
shot.
he would just pick up and tell a story where he wants to. And realistically, what he was planning to do post episode 6 anyway would kind of fit in between where episode 6 ended and where the current episodes 7, 8, and 9 continue. But the problem is that his plan for episodes 7, 8, and 9 had Darth Maul as the primary villain with Darth Talon as like his,
hey now,
whatever, his cohort, whatever. Problem with that is that canonically Darth Maul is dead. He's dead. So he wouldn't be able to do that unless he retconned Rebels.
Correct.
So I'm not 100% sure where George would go, honestly. Like there's, only the creator would know that. He could cook up a completely new storyline, have that be 9, 10, 11, or he could make 3 movies that fit in between ROTJ and TFA because there's a lot of time in there. Obviously, we know. That's
probably the best spot, Nick, if you think about it. Fuck this Mandoverse stuff. Just let George do it. Well, actually, what he was thinking of doing was still going to be in the future. I mean, all the heroes were going to be adults and we're going to be dealing with kids and whatnot. But here's my take. I mean, George, in the end, is an artist. He's going to respect other artists, whether he likes them or not. So, yeah, I'm leaning with young Nick here. I think if George gets it back, which is never going to happen, he doesn't care. He got his $4 He's not getting beat up by the fans anymore.
Also, like George, people need to realize that George turns 81 this year.
Yeah.
Like this dude is like, he seems to be in good health. Like he doesn't make many public appearances anymore, but when he does, like he seems coherent. He seems, in good spirits and he seems healthy. But like when you're 81 years old, like you don't have a lot of gas left in the tank, and doing 3 Star Wars movies as we've seen,
it would kill him.
It takes a long time to do that. Like even when he did it, it was 99, 02, 05, and that's a 6-year run. So if he were to pick it up today, he would be 87 by the time he finished it. And that was if a movie released like in 2025. So I mean it's
he's
it's
staying
hard
retired.
To
he's staying retired,
yeah.
And he's just gonna sit there and laugh at people that tell him that Star Wars was never political.
Yeah.
All right, next one here coming from Mac, our boy Michael Cray. Who's more of a smartass, R2D2 or HK47? And secondly, what would guys like to see in Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy? This is easy, right? In terms of the droids, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the thing about R2 is like R2 is a smartass, but you just can't understand everything that he says.
And it's
like
mostly
you can pick up on most of it.
It's mostly just directed at his gay overlord.
At C3PO, yeah.
Yeah.
At his life partner. But HK-47 is snarky to everybody, and you understand it.
Yeah, you know who should have been on this list? Chopper.
Which Chopper is the smart,
he's
like
smart
the
ass
most,
to everybody. Yeah. You know, he doesn't give a shit. He's like wah 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 wah. You know. So yeah, and in terms, I'm with Nick. It's HK if this is our list there, Kramer. But in terms of Simon Kinberg's, I think we kind of talked about this. I mean, I would like it to be new with attachments to the old. Okay, there you go.
I would like it to be new with no attachments to the old. 0. Get away from the old.
Hold on.
Just like Kylo said.
Let's
let the past go.
That's right. We got B-Mad coming in with a super chat here, buddy. We love you. Hey now, rocking the black and gold. That's right. Pittsburgh all the way, 412. Taz, I can't stop thinking about last night. Are you still sore? You know it, Taz. You know it.
Right.
I love you, buddy. That felt good. Anytime you were ready, I am down. All right, good to see you there, Kramer. Nice join in the chat there. So there you go.
Thank you, Michael.
Nick, do you have any wants for Simon's trilogy, which we know is going to be set? All we know is Kathleen said it's going to take us into the next era. It's like, whoa,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I have no wants.
All right.
Literally, like right. I'm not saying this to like dodge shit. I have no wants. I want to see what Simon Kinberg can do with 3 movies. That's all I want.
All right.
No wants.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next question here. This one is from Spa. I know this. See you, Kramer. What are 3 animals that you are most terrified of?
For me, I mean, I'm not like super terrified of animals, if I'm being completely honest.
I feel that. I guess let's reframe it. What are 3 animals you respect greatly because you know they will fuck you up if you fuck with them?
Sharks for sure. Sharks for sure. Like if there's one that like I'm frightened of, it would probably be sharks because you're in their domain. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, anything that you fuck around with on land,
you deserve to die. If you're in, I don't care if it's land or the ocean. If you're in their habitat, fucking around, you deserve to die.
Yeah. What animal would you like to not be eaten by? A shark. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's sharks. Like that might be a quick death though. If you think about it, like they get you good, like right on the rib cage, you'd bleed out pretty quick. But if you get eaten by like a big cat, they'll just sit there and like start gnawing on your guts while you're alive and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a kid and like, I love the water. But the thing is like I had swam with like nurse sharks before, and it was so cool, and like I had been exposed to them, and like even, you know, as frightening as it was, like I remember going out when I was a kid, like we would go out to the beach and nobody would put any limits on us. It would be me and my cousin every year, and we would take these inflatable dinghies and we would just paddle out as far as we could go.
There's Nicky stuck in a fucking riptide again. Oh, it's all right. They'll figure it out.
And I still remember to this day, there was one time we went out far.
Yeah,
like
dude,
we went
that's
out
nuts.
Really far. And we looked down below us and we could see shadows. They were like pretty far under the water. Like they weren't right up on us. But there were shadows down there. And we're like, okay, we really got to get the fuck back now.
That is wild. But, I mean, because this is right in the Gulf of Gulf of Mexico, right at the time.
Yeah, like we were in, like we would always go to Florida, so we would always go to Destin, Florida, and that's where we had this experience.
That's like, still Gulf though, isn't it?
Yeah, we were still in Gulf water, so. I mean, that's like a mixing pot for every kind of shark you can think.
I can't believe you guys
sharks, great white sharks, all that.
Because that's a decent ocean. Like I mean, the undertow, you never like riptides never just completely sucked you guys out to your deaths. Dude, that's amazing.
We were super lucky. I mean, we were like nuts, strong. Dude. We were strong swimmers for sure, but like we definitely did not respect the ocean the way that we should have.
Yeah. All right. I'm with Nick. I'm not terrified of animals because I respect them. I actually appreciate animals more than humanity. You know, if it came to like saving a cat or a person in the road, I'm probably going for the cat. That's being dead serious. But like Nick, it's more of a respect thing. So of course, great white sharks. They're probably one of my favorite animals of all time, but I respect them greatly. Next would be big cats of any kind. Tigers are probably my favorite. But yeah, you mess with them and they're probably going to chew your throat out. And the last, probably a pissed off silverback gorilla. Because they could probably knock your head off, literally, at least cave your skull in with one shot. Or, you know, a chimp that's been in captivity for 20 years and decides to go nuts and eat your face off. So, all right. B-Mad's living by Destin. You know what? I'm not a huge fan of Florida beaches, but I've been to Destin once and it's pretty slick. It's got the white sands, kind of that clear water. It's a nice place. Not gonna lie, it's a nice place. But I'm always gonna be an Northeast Coast type of dude. All right, not bad there, Spa. All right, hey, Abby Sky, aka Divided, up in this. We got Mark Attack doesn't like hippos. Hippos are mean motherfuckers.
Hippos
dude.
will fuck you up.
Yeah, they'll eat you. They'll eat you.
I mean, you know, obviously, if you're in a situation where a hippo is angry at you or a hippo even sees you. You have put yourself in that situation. It's very easy to avoid hippos.
Well, they're in water though. Can't they do like 35 miles an hour?
They can run very, very fast.
B-Mad asking about, have you heard of Panama? Are you kidding me? Bro, I'm Gen X. I lived in Panama City basically through the end of high school into college. I mean, I was at that Holiday Inn Sun Spree every fucking spring, being a degenerate and probably should have served jail time or be dead. So yes, Panama City has very fond memories for me. All right, Abby Divided asking, I know this has probably been asked before, but what is the best way to get into a gym/healthy eating routine? How do you find time and motivation to go? What are your biggest roadblocks and what helps you deal with them? Well, Nick, I'm kind of an expert at this, so I'll go ahead and take this unless you have anything to add after here. But you got to have the willpower, which I have now learned is not something everyone has. I just always thought what I do is what everyone can do. So if you can get the willpower, that makes things easy. But time and motivation to go, I just know I don't want to be fat because I've been a really fat person in my life, 230 pounds at 5'6". So I'm a short, sawed-off motherfucker that can also get quite large and round. So that's my motivation. I don't like feeling that way. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't bend over and tie my shoes. It was kind of a miserable experience. And you know, listen, things growing up, my dad, friends picking on me, that kind of helped. Negative motivation usually drives the males more than females. And really, I don't have roadblocks. I've eliminated them. I have a gym in my garage now, so I have no excuses. So it can't be like, oh, I don't want to drive. No, just get your ass into the garage and work out. And I do that sometimes in 20, 15 degree weather in the garage in the north. So it's, you just gotta really ask yourself, why am I doing this? What are the benefits? And what are my goals that I am looking to reach? And Nick, someone is accusing you of picking your nose, and that's okay.
No, I do go like this every now and then. Like I'll just do that because
SW, you know what he's doing. You know what he's doing, wiping his nose. Calm down. Come on.
It's a tick. But I mean, on Abby's thing, the one thing that I can say that will make it easier is set very attainable goals.
Yeah, don't be me.
Start with.
Don't be me. Don't work out 7 days a week and fast.
Yeah, like set attainable goals in terms of like even if it's just an activity goal where it's like I just want to go to like even if it's just starting off like I just want to go 1 day a week and I want to lose X amount of pounds or I want to see this type of body transformation in this amount of time. So if you set attainable goals and then you reach those goals, you have more motivation to set your next goal and you can set your next goal a little bit harder than your
always
previous.
Be reasonable with yourself. As I've learned, and it took therapy to learn this, people aren't like me when it comes to willpower and dedication to get better at anything. Like I have almost a problem with it. Like I would almost hate people because they couldn't commit to a workout and diet routine like I could. I look at them as weak losers. Ask Joey Coughlin. He knows what I used to look like. This guy knows what I used to look like. I was a mess of a human, as they say. Okay. Bad asking, excited for baseball? Absolutely not. Ever since I left Pittsburgh, baseball has kind of died for me because I had to live in this shitbag Midwest Columbus city that really has nothing going for it in terms of real sports. So yeah, baseball was one of my favorites. I played it. I loved it. Used to go to Pirates game all the time, but I could care less. And I'm assuming Nick will echo that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't grow up with any like baseball teams that were in my region. So I was just a Yankees fan because when you grow up in the 90s, you're a Yankees fan. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, listen, I lived in Detroit for about 4.5 years when they were good, and they had a bunch of the old Pirate coaching staff, like when Jim Leland took it over, Andy Van Slyke was up there. So I resonated with that. I went to the World Series, so I definitely followed the Tigers for a bit, but who cares anymore? Like I didn't even know we've made it to the Sweet 16. Like I'm such a football guy that's just like, I'm into golf. Like, hey, did you watch the Players Championship? I'm old white man at this point in time. I watch football and golf. That's about it. It's kind of pathetic. All right. Thank you, Divided there. The chat's fun today. Keep it going, people. It was a little lonely last week. I'm not going to lie. All right. We got one from Beast Mobile coming up in here who says he works out because his girlfriend is hot. That is a good reason. And I just realized that I cut off most of his response. So let me try and pull that up while we move to the next question, which Nick might be only to answer because I don't think I can answer this. But League is asking for thoughts on Wheel of Time Season 3 so far, Nick.
Yeah. Episode 4 was a banger showing Ruidian. Yeah. So we saw episode 4 showing Ruidian. Even though Taylor is like watching the show in a way that it's like she's just aware that the show is just not going to be the book, like that. It's just how it is. Yeah. She really enjoyed the episode with Ruidian. I thought that it was a really cool episode, and I liked the way that they incorporated the actor playing Rand into all of his ancestry as well. It's not like you're going through his ancestry and there's different people playing his ancestors. All of those characters were played by him. I like the way that it was portrayed in both the rings and the glass columns. So yeah, I thought it was good. I've been enjoying it. Like, I have not read the books, so I don't have that layer that most people have who have read the books, or like Taylor has since she's read all the books. But yeah, I mean, I think that the show is strong. I've been enjoying.
I'm ready. I'm going to finish Severance season 2 tonight. I don't know what to tell you, people. I saw a lot of you, Justin in particular, like, oh my God, greatest show of all time. And I respect the show. I have fallen asleep pretty much every episode of this season. I feel bad, Nick, because I usually can tap into the zeitgeist, like I get it. I'm not getting it. Like, I'm not getting it. I think they fucked around too long. They'll introduce a concept and take a full episode and they shift away from it. Then they come back. That's like, I'm like, all right, give me the hour 15 finale. Let's see where it goes. I personally got more enjoyment out of Silo season 2 than Severance season 2. Rory Schmidt asking, do you drive Buick? No, but when I was younger, I ran into my friend's Buick because I didn't think I would hit it when I was pulling into the parking lot, even though everyone was screaming at me, you're gonna fucking hit his car! So I hit it anyways, and it just might be that guy asking about Buicks, so there you go. Joe Coughlin, Wheel of Time confuses me. Well, Joe, you and I, we grew up in a family. We were probably dropped on our heads too many times, so I can appreciate that. All right, B-Mad, I am back. Sorry, buddy. We got your question in full now. Here we go, Nick. You're a Moff in the Galactic Empire, and you have to choose a planet to blow up. Do you, A, blow up all the Rebel bases and secure galactic rule, or leak the Death Star blueprints and sacrifice your life for the rebellion?
I mean, this is like, is it just like, are you good or are you bad? I mean, I guess it really depends, right? Like, if it was me, I probably wouldn't just kill a whole bunch of people for no reason. But so I would probably switched to the rebellion side of things. Yeah, I mean that's what I would do.
Here's
it's like this is a very dichotomous
I know.
question.
Here's my take on it, Nick, and hear me out. So if I've made it to Moff in the Empire, I'm probably a pretty shitty person. You know what I mean? Like pretty shitty. I mean, the only high level spy we have met so far is what's his name, Lonnie or something like that from Andor, and he's like middling in ISB. To get all the way to Moff, you would have had to commit some pretty horrific acts. You would have had to bend the knee, kiss the ass. A lot of stuff we're kind of seeing in our own politics right now. And I think by then you're such a compromised person that I'm probably blowing up some rebel bases.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I'm already a lost soul. You know what I mean? All right. Let's get back to questions here. Skip leagues. We answered it. EKU Rory, waffle cone or sugar cone or dish at any ice cream shop? Go.
I like waffle cones because you can like break them off and do like a little dip.
It is good. It is good.
So
it is good. I guess these days, in my youth, 100%, I'm with Nick. Always waffle cone over sugar if you had the extra money and the extra calories. But these days, I would rather get as much ice cream as possible. So I'm going to jam that shit into a bowl. Okay. I'd rather derive my calories from like slimy cream fat than sugary, crunchy stuff. Does that make sense? Thank you. I am a dish eater. Really, at my house, I prefer to just eat right out of the pint or half gallon. And then everyone else just has to eat my back spit and whatnot. Actually, do you guys get your own ice creams there, or do you share, or do you even have ice cream on hand?
We used to, but Taylor, she's not really lactose intolerant, but she definitely
gets a little runny. Okay.
It gets rough. So no ice cream as of recently, but before she switched off of it, we used to do the same thing where we'd just buy half gallon and then just eat out of it together.
Specific brand? Are you doing Bluebell down there in Texas, or?
No, so we would mostly do the HEB brand,
Heb.
which is just
I know Heb.
So their store brand's pretty good. Their store brand is good, so that was our go-to.
It's probably made by Kroger, if you believe it or not. You never know.
Really?
I've worked in ice cream plants back in the day, and Kroger makes some damn good ice cream, especially when it's coming right out of the extruder before it goes into the deep freeze. Ooh, boy. You all have not tasted ice cream. Like, it's supposed to be hard ice cream, but when you're making it, it's coming out like a goo. So when you get hard ice cream that's soft, woo! That's okay. You guys got me on this one. Smith knows I'm a fat fuck. Hard ice cream, Nick, or soft ice cream?
I'm a soft ice cream person.
Okay. See, I love almost to where you need a chisel to eat the shit, because then I feel like I'm chewing on something and actually eating it versus just slurping it all in like a Play-Doh squeezer, like I like to chew on that stuff. In fact, Nick, I get mine so cold and I chew on it so much, every week I burn the top layer of my mouth from coldness. I'm such a fat asshole. Favorite ice cream these days is Jenny's almond toffee crunch or something. All right. Sorry. You guys got me going on that one. Now I'm hungry. Cyan XTC, good to see a question from him. What's the worst job you've had, Nick?
I don't know. I've worked so many fucking jobs, like from when I was just a kid, like from before I was legally able to work.
Cole.
I don't know. My worst job ever, like maybe I used to work in a t-shirt printing shop that was just like an unair conditioned warehouse. But the thing is like, it wasn't that bad. It was just a summer job and I got paid for it when I was 16 years old. So I had pocket money. So I would say that one, like if you just look at the circumstances of the job where it's like I'm covered in ink, there's no AC in the middle of summer in Louisiana where it's 95 degrees and 60% humidity every day. So I'm sweating. I'm just covered in ink. It's hot. Like not only is it hot, but there's a dryer that the shirts come through. And if you're picking off the dryer, you're even hotter because that dryer is probably 160, 170 degrees. So maybe just circumstantially, that was the worst job.
All right. Like most people, I worked some odd jobs as a young kid. Been doing it since I was 14. Was a cavern tour guide and maintenance man. I was an antique. I worked at an auction house and went and picked up antiques that were heavy as shit all summer long. Managed a GNC where you basically would sit there for 10 hours straight and have 6 customers and you'd want to poke your eyes out. But I have to say it's probably my first ever big boy post-grad gig. And I mean, Nick, it got so bad that I had to, I quit. I quit something. I never quit something in my entire life, but after 7 years of Kroger and being on call and working grocery retail and minimum week was 60, I was usually looking at 70, 80 hours a week, working on Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, being on call, getting called on my honeymoon. I got to go with that. And it wasn't the physical stuff anymore. It was just a life suck. Pro IT sucks. It's hard because people are dumb and they fuck shit up, and then you have to fix it. But no one respects you because they think you're a weirdo because you can program and talk to computers and build networks. So yeah, fuck that. I'd never go back to pro IT unless I was like high level and didn't have to do the shit. All right. Here we go. We got another one. BC Scrubs. Good to see one from him. What do you hope to see most in Andor Season 2, young Nick?
I mean, I just want to see the K2 and Cassian meet. That's just that for me is really the only thing that I like really want to see how they do, because it was such a unique relationship in Rogue One. And I really want to see how they get there.
B2,
and if they,
B2 to K2 connection, right, buddy? We've been putting that out there for 3 years now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I want to see how they incorporate B2 into it and everything like that. So that's the thing that I want to see the most. Like all the other stuff, like I'm sure that there's going to be really cool set pieces and there's going to be really awesome, stuff to see in this show. But that's the one thing character interaction wise that I'm really interested in.
I'm gonna take a completely different route here. What I hope to see most in Andor Season 2 is the Star Wars fans to not be pieces of shit and rain on everyone's parade if they don't like it. How do you like that?
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's what I want to see the most. I want to see Darth Vader. Well, we're going to talk about that coming up in a second, Nick, because people are starting to be like, oh, did you see that one scene? And that's why I need to talk to you. All right, this is the last one coming from Nova Toymation. From our Ask Us Anything. If you want to get involved, make sure you're following Star Wars Time Show on the socials. Do you think some of the Sith suits had built-in air conditioning, or did everyone just walk around sweaty and smelling like shit all the time? In universe, not the actors. Your thoughts. Thank you, Bobo.
Yeah, no, there was no AC in there for sure. This is like old metal suits of armor type of stuff here. So there's definitely some
you gotta think about it. Like that's
on.
a good point. Like when a medieval knight would come out of their armor, again, these people barely had fucking soap, let alone they'd have to bathe in streams and shit. How bad do you think people smelled back then?
Oh, I mean, awful. But the thing is like you didn't know they smelled awful because that was just the smell
it was like
everything.
I mean, as animals sit there and like, oh, let me smell your asshole, and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. We were essentially doing the same thing, and then people are like, you know what? Those flowers smell good. Let me fucking like rub them all over my body, and then someone's like, oh, now smash them up, put some other liquids in. Now we got perfumes, and here we go. Yeah, I mean, I'm with Nick. I bet Darth Vader smelled like absolute shit every time he had to get out of that and go into his bacta tank. Like pure. Yeah. Think about his like rotten ass skin. Like they never even tried to heal him fully. They never grafted. He had nothing to graft. He was all burnt. So he's just like, level 3 burns everywhere, oozing into his suit. So I mean, he probably smells literally like a zombie.
Yeah. I mean, he would smell probably the worst for sure.
Sweaty balls. Many sweaty balls up in those Sith suits. All right, everyone. Thank you for Ask Us Anything. Let's go ahead and pick up the pace here, returning back to our pop culture talk. Caught a movie last week that apparently not a lot of people went to see, but I've got a kid, so, got to entertain them every once in a while. So we went and watched the live action Snow White. And quite frankly, Nick, it was fine. I was never a big Snow White guy. I do love some of the music, and I think they absolutely nailed Hi Ho and Whistle While You Work. So I was a happy camper. And overall, I thought it was a fun Disney live-action remake. Gal Gadot, while an absolute immaculate beauty, still shows that she really does not have range as an actress. And apparently her and Ziegler had on-set issues. I didn't really see that come into play in the final movie. And the dwarves, while a little goofy looking at first, are kind of charming, especially Dopey. All right.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about like the outrage about this. I don't know. It's so funny to me that like there are people who are adults that are outraged about a child's live action film.
Well, like, welcome to the new world, pal. I mean,
it's like, here, let me give you all a heads up.
Bango.
That movie wasn't made for you. That movie was made for children. It was made for little kids. And if you are on the internet as somebody who is over the age of 20 years old complaining about the new Snow White movie, you really need to find something in your life that you can grasp onto and move away from
or just
the internet.
Admit that you might be slightly racist or have some problems, okay?
It's just weird to me that like I'm not on the internet talking about the Mickey Mouse Club after every episode and saying, what the fuck are they doing there? Like, it's children's content.
Nick's like, did you see O'Toodles came out in a rainbow outfit today?
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous to me. It's like, this is like, these things are literally made for kids. And like the only people who ever talk about it are old white people. Yeah. It's like, I don't fucking care what you think. And you shouldn't be watching this by yourself anyway.
Like, please, social media, go away. Please, 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 please. But yeah, I mean, come on. If you like Snow White, you like Disney, there's nothing wrong with this movie. It's a full musical. You know what I mean? You can't miss much. Did we lose Nick? Looks like
no, I'm here.
Okay, it froze for a second. All right, so that's that.
Video froze.
Real quick, Nick, before we get into the 15 coolest, most baddest ass looking Sith of all time. Real quick on the Andor Season 2 trailer. We got a new one this week in addition to the poster. Looking at the poster first, it's a banger, not going to lie. It channels that Star Wars motif, Nick, where you kind of got the good guys and the bad guys mashed together. They're lined up. You got the prime players in the middle, which surprisingly is Cassian and Krennic. Looks like we're going to get some range troopers over there, some tank troopers. There's our boy Lonnie, or whatever the hell his name is, Luthen's contact. We got the Masasi Temple in there. It's looking good. It's a fine looking poster. You got to dig Dedra, whatever, in that black, sleek looking dress. Saucy. All right. So, as far as the trailer goes, Nick, I personally thought it was the best one we've gotten so far. I think, unlike the first trailer, the music was perfect. The pacing was perfect. It really made you feel the tension that we're all going to experience when this series comes out, 100%. But there were a few scenes where I think we can maybe draw some conclusions finally, or add to our speculations. And the one thing I want to talk about is that the wheat planet we've been seeing, the farm planet, the grain planet, whatever you want to call it. We said it reminds us of Lothal. But we got a few more shots in this trailer where it seems that most of Ferrix, at least the ones that rebelled on Ferrix, have relocated to this planet. You've got Brasso's there, Bix is there, Willman's there. It's like, I don't know. Do you think all these people are Ferrixians, Nick? Or do you think they've kind of moved in and just kind of joined this society?
I think that they probably just relocated. I mean, they're refugees. I mean, it's something that we are very familiar with just from life in general on, in the United States and elsewhere. Like, they're refugees. They needed somewhere to go. They were clearly political dissidents toward, of the empire. So they're trying to get out of that particular area So yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is like a colony or a planet that's all people from Ferrix. I just think that it's probably like a safe harbor area for all those people who were affected by the Ferrix uprising and now are being targeted by the Empire.
And that's my next point, because there is a scene where you can kind of see a stormtrooper transport coming in. So I guess what Nick's saying, and I'm backing him here, it seems the Empire figures out where these Ferrixians are at some point in time, or this whole community fucked off and now they're about to find out. But I thought we can say that legitimately now. It looks like a lot of the Ferrixian rebels now live on this planet. Is it Lothal? Who knows? Hopefully that'd be neat. But they're definitely going to get their party rained on by the Empire at some point in time. Hold on, we got a good one here from B-Mad. F, marry, kill, Nick. Bix, Deidre, or Mon Mothma?
I mean, if we're talking about, like, I don't know.
Who you fucking, who you marrying, who you killing?
I know, it's just hard. I mean, probably Deidre would be the kill, just because she's a psychopath.
Got you.
And then marrying Mothma and then bedding down Bix.
All right, I'm with young Nick. He speaks the truth.
I think that's the best option.
He speaks the truth. I could definitely have a one-nighter with Bix, but then end up with the rest of my life with that lovely short-haired, red-headed lady. So I am 100% on board with young Nick. All right, another curious scene we got in this trailer. Not so much curious, but it looks like right around the 50th mark, that's Mothma delivering her rebuke of the Gorman massacre. I think we can take that to the bank. This is probably her calling out Palpatine and essentially her resignation from the Senate, which is really going to kick the rebellion into high gear. And then the big one that I think some people caught on, I know I did, but we get a scene of Deidre in her ISB officer uniform, and she's grasping at her collar. And it's a similar grasp to what some other Imperial officers do when they are being force choked. Let's watch it real quick. I am going, she is not being force choked. She is actually having a panic attack. Is kind of where I'm at. What say you?
If you look at the room that she's in, it almost looks like she's being held, detained, imprisoned, something like that. This looks like it's a very small room. This is not her standard uniform because it doesn't have any of the Imperial insignias on it. It's
there. You can see the blue just right underneath her left arm, Nick. If you see her grabbing up there, I changed the frame.
But yeah, I think it may just be a panic attack, like you were mentioning, and I think it's likely due to the fact that she's either been caught doing something that she wasn't supposed to do and it's now been thrown in this little cell, or is being detained for some reason.
Yeah, I truly think it's a panic attack, because there's other scenes we've seen where you could kind of infer that, oh, is this almost getting too much now for Deidre? You know what I mean? Is she starting to feel something? And I do think between her and Cyril, one of those two is going to break.
I don't think it's going to be Cyril. I think that Cyril's just like, he was a crazy person to start with.
Right. Yeah, he just wants to be recognized, so he'll do anything to like get his name out there, huh?
Yeah, now he's a crazy person with a purpose.
All right.
So
Mark Attack is going with force choking. I just, here's the deal.
She's too low level for fucking Vader to care about.
Exactly.
Her.
Vader ain't dealing with these types of people. That's a great point. And neither is Palpatine. And Tony Gilroy of all Gilroys, he ain't bringing out the big swinging dicks. They serve no purpose to the story of Andor. Absolutely none. The only reason they were brought into Rogue One, was because of Tony, but it made a point, it told a good story, and it really helped lead us right into A New Hope. I just do not see, like Nick said, Deidre even being on the Sith Lords' radar at all. At all.
Yeah. It's just hard to imagine that like he would come down to like some ISB satellite.
Exactly.
Building.
He's fucking with Krennic before he gets to her.
Yeah, and at this point, yeah, he's definitely more concerned about Krennic. We obviously know that because he is, like we've seen those two interact before in Rogue One. But yeah, it's just like it's hard to imagine that he's like, where is this mid to low level bureaucrat station, and let me go out of my way during a time period where this motherfucker should be actively hunting the remaining Jedi in the galaxy. And let me go down there and give her a stern talking to. Like, I just, I don't think that would be something that he'd be concerned with.
I'm not going to hate it. It just would seem odd and slightly out of character for Vader to be caring about low-level schlubs. Like, I mean, he's captain and above. And even then, like Mark Attack said, he's mostly looking for admirals or moffs to choke out. Okay, I mean he kind of reserves it for the top brass of the Empire. You're a big dreamer, buddy. I love you, but it's never gonna happen. Bat's saying, and since Mothma resigned and got the attention of the Senate on them, so Palpy sends Vader. Nah. Remember, the Senate completely folds, though. Pretty much no one but Bail Organa follows fucking Mon Mothma when she resigns. You got to remember that the Senate, like our Senate, is committed to supporting Palpatine. Yeah,
it's just like realistically, within 8 months of this happening, the Senate just doesn't exist anymore. So
it depends when this happens, but Nick is right. You got to remember, the Senate gets dissolved pretty much as Scarif battle is happening.
Yeah, exactly. Like, very beginning of episode 4, when he's, when Vader walks into the meeting, he's like, there is no more Imperial Senate. It's
exactly.
Gone,
exactly.
Bitch.
See ya. I mean, literally, as soon as the plans got stolen, Palpatine's like, why am I even doing this shit anymore? Like, the Death Star's ready to rock. Let's go!
And it's not like he was listening to the Senate anyway. Like, I gotta assume that at a certain point during this run, even prior to dissolving the Senate, he was just like, yeah, we'll just leave this facade up so people don't fucking bother me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was already a shadow Senate anyways, the moment he took over way back at the end of the Clone Wars. All right, that's really the few scenes I wanted to discuss, but it was a great trailer. Looking forward to it. Remember, we're getting the first 3 episodes come April 22nd, and then we'll get the next 3, and then the next 3, and then the next 3. It's going to be the quickest delivery of a Star Wars live action series to date. I'm excited because it gets it off my plate before I leave for vacation, but I am also definitely anxious about the level of time commitment it's going to require on my part to break these bitches down and get us ready for the cast. But I'll do it. We'll be here every Wednesday to tell you what you should have been thinking when you watched Andor.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Mark Attack, listen, if it takes Vader to get people to watch Andor, so be it. They are missing out, but guess what? Who cares? We are not. We can't be worried about all these other Star Wars fans that hate themselves for being Star Wars fans or hate the thing that they think they're fans of. All right. Well, Nick, it's time to get into our special sauce for this week.
Hey.
Look at that graphic. The AI went absolutely bananas.
It really did, bro.
It loves, for some reason, if you ask it to make Jedi or Sith, it loves fucking Stormtrooper variants. Okay?
I know. It loves to put helmets on. But I mean, some, like, they got a couple in here that look pretty badass. Like,
you got kind of like a slow adult Darth Vader. You see him over there?
Yeah, over in the corner on the right hand side. But honestly, the one that's like center top looks kind of badass. He's got like the old plague style mask on.
I was gonna say, he looks like he's in France during the bubonic plague or something.
I mean, if some fool rolled up to me looking like that with those pauldrons and everything, like, I'd be pretty freaked out. Like,
I like the Stormtrooper that has Vader's bucket style, but then the Stormtrooper face mask. It's like, okay, all right, AI, I see what you're up to.
They're working.
You got like a Kylo hybrid over here on the right.
I see the Kylo.
It's
hybrid.
Whatever. I know AI really rubs certain artists the wrong way. It's just like, I feel for you. I'm sorry it happened to you, but for lowlifes like myself that need graphics that can't always be found, I'm using it. Okay, I'm sorry. Can't help it. But here we go. We got 15 of the coolest looking Sith of all freaking time to deliver to you. This list, I'm not going to lie, is loaded with badass mofos. I mean, it almost makes me want to get into Star Wars Legends material because most of these people are getting out of here. Hold on, what we got here? Weathermain, a.k.a. Breaking Bad, subbed. We speak your name. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, like, you know, pulling up a lot of these, it made me like go through the old like the Legends Wikipedias for all of these ancient Sith. And that's what I used to do when I was a kid, because it was harder to get your hands on those, you know, those pieces of material, or it was referencing like super obscure comics or like stuff that was like, you know, footnotes and everything like that. So like pulling up these ancient Sith and then reading their Wikipedia pages was really cool for me.
Well, you know what's coming, Nick. We really don't want to encourage reading here on the Star Wars Time channel. So once I get through my tour of Who's Who from Andor, which I'm trying to do every week, just put out, last week I put out Who's Luthen Rael. The week before that I did What's the Gorman Massacre? And we have our AI compatriots do the podcast for us, Scott and Sally. But I'm with you. I think once I get through Andor, I think I'm going to do Bix this week, Brasso. I'm just going to lead up to the 22nd. But I think that's a great idea, is to then focus our AI podcast hosts on these Legend Sith, because they are the perfect team for the job. So always stay tuned to the Star Wars Time show. We don't just do this dumb shit. We'll put out our shorts, our clips from shows, new and old. But usually once a week or at least 2 times a month, you're going to get some form of content. Okay? Let's go. Let's do it. All right, people, here we go. These are in no particular order. At the end, we will both introduce our top 3 favorites, but we're just going to count down just like last week. I got to get my hype voice on. Here we go. He's known for his imposing armor and menacing demeanor. Darth Bane's appearance exudes power and intimidation, reflecting his role as the founder of the Rule of Two. And Nick, I found a good graphic someone already made that kind of has all his different forms. And I know you can explain more, but this dude was a tank, because as Nick has explained to me, he was a fucking miner before he got into the dark side. So he was already built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But then didn't he allow like some like invasive species to essentially coat him and give him armor?
Yeah, so the one that you see up front, the version where you see his full face, if you look at his body in those spines, those are obelisks, which are poisonous insectoids that have carapaces that are so hard that they reflect lightsaber blows. So he essentially built a set of armor out of these obelisks. So when he was in a lightsaber combat battle, like they would reflect off of his obelisks on his body. But the problem was, and sometimes you'll find an image of this, is that these obelisks spread. So they don't just like sit on you and stay, they spread up your body. So at a certain point, he literally had to put a cage around his head so they wouldn't be able to completely overtake his face.
Do you know anything, Nick?
Really,
how did he go
cool
about kind of getting his Clone Wars armor, which does look more like traditional metal armor? Is that prior to these things glomming onto him? Okay.
So that's like pre the Orbalisk armor from my recollection. Because he was taken out when he was, you know, like wearing like, you know, the last time you see him, he's wearing his Orbalisk armor, but that was probably from his time within the Brotherhood of Darkness, which was the Sith Academy that he was recruited to and like learned all of his, you know, his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he looks like, I mean, Tommy Tough Guy times 2. I don't care if he's
badass,
if he's in his non-steel armor or his organic armor. He looks like a guy that would come up with the Rule of Two. So yeah, I mean, Darth Bane, we speak your name. All right. Up next on the list, who do we got? Oh, look at this guy. Isn't he a beauty? With a metal jaw prosthesis and a towering presence, Darth Malik's look is both fearsome and memorable, symbolizing his ruthless nature during the Jedi Civil War. I mean, look, I guess I never quite understood why I knew his jaw was jacked, Nick, but on our image here, if you're not on the live stream, make sure to check it out, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show, 5:30 East, every Wednesday as close as we can get. But I mean, he literally has no lower jaw, and he's got like this blue orb of light emanating from his throat. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, I believe that this was like a wound that he suffered during the Jedi Civil War, and was then repaired in a way. I think he got this wound, and somebody, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, because I don't remember too much of Malik's history. It's been a while, but before going off in the unknown regions, he was obviously Revan's apprentice. And
he was, right? He was his apprentice. They weren't like equal. They weren't both Jedi Knights.
No, I believe he was Revan's apprentice, and then he suffered the wound during the
it's Matt's evil twin. Thanks. Matt.
he suffered the wound during the Jedi Mandalorian.
Did a Mandalorian
War.
give it to him, like shoot his fucking face off or something?
I think it was a Mandalorian that gave it to him, and then he had this like grafted onto him, similar, and like everything kind of like goes off of Vader in a way, because he was the prototypical like human machine hybrid. So yeah, I think they had to like rebuild the bottom half of his face, because it was
he is great, man. I mean, he's got that shaved head. He's got tattoos on it, obviously with the metal part covering his mouth. He's got broad shoulders, that red armor, a little bit of a cape. So I mean, Malik is fantastic. I mean, he's a character that if he ever got a hot toy, just like Revan, I'd be adding him to my shelf. So we honor you, Lord Malik. All right, which Darth is next? Will it be an alien, a humanoid, a female? You never know. Who do we got for the people? Oh, look, it's his buddy. Darth Revan's iconic mask and flowing robes create a mysterious and enigmatic appearance, capturing the duality of his Jedi and Sith affiliations. This actually is the hot toy. It's not.
There you go. So it's straight off the hot toy.
Yeah, and he still looks great. I mean, it's pretty much the same outfit we talked about last week for his light side version, but he now is wearing black colored robes. It doesn't matter, man. It's that damn mask, right? I mean, the mask just seals the deal as him looking cool, whether he is good or bad. Yeah,
I mean, taken on during the Mandalorian Civil War timeline is just such a cool timeline that could be explored in animated TV, like Matt Attack brought up, or Mark Attack brought up, and live action, whatever. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens there, but he co-ops this mask because he was one of the generals on the field during the Mandalorian Civil War.
You would think it's pretty demoralizing to the Mandalorians if a Jedi kills one of your compatriots and then dons his mask, right? Was it one of those deals like, hey, I am this much better to you that I'm going to co-opt your heritage?
I think so. It was a pure intimidation play, probably. I can't remember exactly the circumstances under, because I didn't read. I mean, there are novels about Revan, but I think at the time that the novels are taking place, it's after he has already re-entered the galaxy as Darth Revan. It's not pre, unknown regions and all of that. There may be some material out there in Legends, because technically everything about Revan is Legends. But I think that the mask came back with him.
Like B-Matt is asking, how do you think him and Lord Vader would get along?
I mean, honestly,
in Anakin form, not fully life support yet.
Yeah. I think at a certain point in Revan's life, and this is just based off of me playing the KOTOR or the SWTOR game. Yeah. Like he has a level of enlightenment that is a bit higher than Anakin or Vader ever really achieved.
That's not too tough, man. We know.
Yes,
Anakin,
it's not very tough.
He was singular focused. Yeah, it's called Padme's Privates.
He would probably look down on Vader, if I had to be completely honest with you.
As like a chump, like a chump.
Yeah, he's like, this was your reason? Like, this like, hey, you didn't even earn this.
Don't say it too loud, Nick. The prequel bros might be listening.
Hey. I'm just saying, like, based off of Revan and like the Revan that I've experienced through that game and everything else, it's like he would look at at Vader and be like, man, you like, there's a level of earning that you have to do even when you fall to the dark side, and he just didn't do it. Like he just didn't quite have that level of like
how many
respect.
Mandalorian warriors did you kill, Mr. Battle Droid hero?
Yeah, and it's like,
I mean, think about though, this dude and his buddy were taking out planets of Mandalorians. Anakin and Obi-Wan were fighting Roger. Bop, 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 beep, beep,
yeah,
boop,
they're
bop,
fighting
beep,
some
da, doop,
cheap
boop.
ass, some literal distraction droids. Like that's the droid army was literally just built as a distraction.
Legit
like,
cannon fodder. Like that's all it was. It was just to slow things down, not to actually dominate. So yeah. I mean, listen, Revan is a boss. He looks awesome, just like his buddy. Between him and Malik, are you still Revan preferred in terms of badass look?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Like Malik has such a unique look, even among human Sith that have disfigurement because of how his facial feature is constructed. But in terms of just overall badassery, it's Revan for sure.
All right. Moving on. Next person on our 15 most baddest ass looking Sith of all time, we have arguably the most iconic Sith. Darth Vader's black armor, flowing cape, and menacing helmet have become synonymous with the dark side, embodying fear and authority.
Yeah. Like while there are other Sith that unquestionably look cooler than Vader, he set the standard, right? He's like, this is the minimum level of cool that you can be. If you don't look as cool as Vader, then you're just, are you even a Sith? Are you even a Sith if you don't look as cool as Vader? He set the standard. He was what a lot of, like, even just like some of the ones that we just went through are based off of. Like you can see it in the design of Revan. There are echoes of Vader. Like, why the fuck would anybody else have a cape? Like George Lucas just decided one day that like, Vader's going to have a cape. There's no reason for it, but he's going to fucking have a cape. And guess what? Nearly all of the badass Sith that come after him have a fucking cape. So
even before him, Dooku.
Yeah. Like
you are right. It did become a thing. And here's the deal. I know exactly what you're saying. He is the one that came before all. He is the egg or the chicken, whatever you want to say. And while I love this man, I love this character, he's amazing, you can argue that the Sith that came after him, because like Nick said, they were essentially based on him, ultimately end up looking more badass and cool.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
He's the first to market.
Yeah.
So it's like
everyone copied his ass.
Yeah. It's like, I was here first. It's like, yeah, you were here first. You gave us the idea, but look, we did cooler shit.
Yeah, Bane's like, oh, you got your iron lung? I'm going to fucking stick living beings to me, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I put a cage on my head so I don't suffocate.
That's right.
But I always feel bad poking fun at Vader because he is the guy. But it is true, man. He really, he set the tone and other people kind of, usurped his drip, if you will.
Yeah.
All right. Who could be next? We've gone through, I think, 4 of these so far. Who is number 5 on our list of the 15 most badass looking Sith? Oh my goodness. Darth Malgus's battle-worn armor and respirator mask give him a formidable and battle-hardened look, emphasizing his role as a relentless warrior during the Great Galactic War.
Yeah.
Look at this fucking badass dude.
Malgus is essentially like, we're doing Vader 2.0. This is as close as you're going to get to Vader.
It basically is Vader without his helmet on.
Yeah, it's like they were like, take the helmet off because the helmet can make you look goofy depending on the angle and everything else. So lose the helmet, keep the respirator, beef up the armor, give it a little bit more shine, give it a little bit more heft.
More muscles.
Yeah, and then because Malgus is still mostly like he's not missing any limbs. I think at some point he may lose a leg, but he's mostly human. Like, so everything, like all the bulk that you see under the armor is just pure meat.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
So he's just he's just badass. Like, cause you can tell he's jacked. You're like, okay, this dude's jacked. This dude is huge. He's probably 7 foot plus tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably even taller than Vader, who got some ups from his robot extension.
Yeah, he got robot legs, so he got a little bit of a height boost for sure. But Malgus is just a big motherfucker that just needs a respirator.
Someone has had to have done a 2-scale Malgus versus Vader. Find it for me, people, or I'll ask my AI to draw an image, and they'll be all like drippy faced, and it's not going to be true to form. But this is the guy right here, Nick, that makes me want to play SWTOR for the first time ever. I mean, I remember it was like almost a year ago at this point, one of these random Saturday nights where I'm down here in my basement, you know, looking at the ceiling. God knows what's running through my head. I fired up essentially all the cinematics from SWTOR, and this guy just dominates the screen. I mean, I love Malgus, and I don't know jack shit about him. Just based on his look. That's it.
Yeah, he's such a badass. He sticks around in the game as one of the primary antagonists, and I don't want to spoil too much, but like, you know, like sticks around in the game for a long time. Like he's always there, whether you're on the dark side or the light side, which is really cool. He's a very persistent character. But yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of meat on the bone in this time period, especially if you use reference material from SWTOR, KOTOR, those types of things. And Malgus is just a bad motherfucker,
he's awesome.
dude.
He's awesome. Hey, Shaq, you're in the right room then, buddy. Welcome. All right. I mean, damn, Malgus, just look at that guy. I did order the hot toy. They did put out a hot toy Malgus on pre-order, and I definitely succumbed to that. I am sorry, bank account. All right, who is up next on this list of the 15 most badass looking Sith? Who could it be? Uh-oh, watch out, boys. Put your hands on your crotches, because we are talking about a striking figure with red skin adorned with black Sith tattoos. Darth Talon's appearance is both alluring and deadly, reflecting her role as a Sith assassin. So, you know, young Nick said if George would have had his way, we would have had a live action Talon who might have been a quasi lover of Maul, but definitely his disciple. And we can understand why George was probably leaning that way based on our discussions last week about Isla Secura.
Yeah. I mean, just like looks obviously super cool. Like we haven't, the Sith tattoos, everything, just like such an iconic look. I will say, I wonder what methodology of assassination she used the most, because she is very scantily clad, as you can see.
That just seems to be the Twi'lek culture. Like, hey, let's just barely wear clothes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I honestly just like overall super cool looking
She's
Sith
great,
character.
Man. I mean, come on.
And I will say too that it's one of the few, like, just go back in history, like even, you know, like go back.
Is Nick about to admit he likes Twi'leks too? Is this Talon get him going here?
No. One of the few female Sith in general. Like there's just not a lot of them. Like,
we might have one more. You never know. We
may have another one, but if you go through the history, there's not a lot of female Sith characters. Typically Sith are like alien male species. So having a female Twi'lek as a Sith, you know,
men don't just rule this world; they rule the galaxy, bro. Okay.
Yeah,
they rule the galaxy. Yeah, I mean, dude, just do a Darth Talon image search, and this is like the least sauciest one. I was like, all right, let's try not to get too pervy here, but whoever created her pretty much always draws her very sultry and sensual looking, even as she's going around assassinating people.
Yeah.
That is a definite figure I would get. And she does remind us that Hera may wear too many clothes for a Twi'lek. All right, people, think about that. Think about that. All right, who is next on this lovely list of killer looking Sith? Oh, look at this. We were just talking about the lack of females, but here we go. Often depicted with a hooded cloak and an aura of mystery. Darth Treya's appearance complements her complex and manipulative nature as a Sith Lord. And, you know, it's a very basic appearance. I like how she's like, fuck it, I don't need to see. I'm just going to pull my head over my eyes. She's got those long ponytails in class. But really what always stood out about her, Nick, and I think we can almost add this to her appearance because it's just how she rolls, it's her 3 levitating lightsabers.
Yeah, it's super unique in terms of presentation for a Sith. For those of you who are unfamiliar, this is from KOTOR 2, the Sith Lords. She was, spoiler alert if you haven't played a game that's almost 20 years old. Starts off as a companion, and then you come to find out that she is the leader of the triumvirate,
right.
the Sith triumvirate that you end
I wonder
up,
if her
fighting.
friends will make this list, Nick.
I wonder so. I wonder if they will. But yeah, I mean the lightsabers floating around her, the enigmatic look, having the cloak pulled over her eyes with the ponytail sticking out, like you said, or the long hair sticking out its sides. I mean, the lightsabers definitely do it, and then seeing her use them in combat is just a treat for sure. It's a very unique way of lightsaber combat that you've probably never seen from anybody else before that time.
This is KOTOR 1 played multiple times. KOTOR 2, I really think I just did it once, and I definitely need to return to it because I barely remember the story. I mean, I know Nihilus, Scion, and her, but that's about it. That's literally about it. I don't remember much, and I've kind of stalled my KOTOR playthrough because why not? I'm sure. I remember why, because someone told us 2 years ago that they were bringing one out for PS5, and
oh yeah,
that's kind of gone up in flames.
Bro, if those remake games ever come out, I might die of a heart attack. Like
at this point, Nick, we're looking forward to Bit Reactor's turn-based strategy game. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we can look forward to.
All right, here we go. Who is next on this list of the 15 most badass looking Sith? Bop, bop. Oh, look at that. We just spoke his name. Some people call him the Lord of Hunger. Darth Nihilus' skeletal mask and dark robes create a haunting and spectral presence, embodying his insatiable hunger for the Force. So, I mean, this guy, you could argue, if you just catch him on a glimpse, kind of looks like a clown. But if you really look into it and see how his face looks, it's very eerie with those dark black eyes. It's almost, Nick, is that like a ninja mask underneath the skeletal mask, or is he literally all blacked out like that?
So I think that he's all blacked out like that, and I know that he had some sort of something happened to him to cause his visage to take that form. I know that I can't remember exactly what it was, but this is what it was. Experiencing the shadow that obliterated almost everything on and around the planet made Nihilus crave Force energy. So he has an affliction that makes him look that way, but also requires him to sap Force energy from life forms, whether it be people, planets, whatever it is. So it is something that he deals with due to his affliction.
Oh yeah, BMAD's kind of saying he's all dark side energy or something.
That's the other one.
Okay,
that's Scion.
All right.
Scion is the one that has his body is.
I'm going to ask AI to give me a maskless Nihilus and see how it interprets it.
See how it comes up with it. Yeah, I mean, they never revealed who he was prior to becoming Nihilus. He was a human. He was human. And then there were some issues that he had. He survived the activation of the mass shadow generator super.
Sounds like a job weapon for AI Scott and Sally.
Yeah, so
here.
this is Scott right. And Sally will tell you all of it. Hey. Yeah, he's one of my favorite. I love the mask. I love he is literally a character shrouded in darkness and requires energy to just survive. It's amazing.
That's did they go into it how these three were able to coexist? Because it seems like these three would not be friends, and I'm talking Traya, Nihilus, and the next guy we're eventually going to talk about.
I think they may show a little bit of their interactions in the game, but I think it was because they were of different domains. Okay. Essentially, they weren't competing for the same thing. From what I could tell, they were just Nihilus was super focused on his own thing, Traya the manipulative one, and then Scion essentially just the crazed tank.
All right. So, well, there's our boy Darth Nihilus. Howard Stern people will understand what that means. All right. Here we go. The next one on the list. I know this is going to make some people happy. He's got me happy with his red and black tattooed skin and crown of horns. Darth Maul's fearsome visage and acrobatic fighting style make him one of the most visually striking Sith Lords. I grabbed a shot of one of his figures, so he's shirtless for the ladies out there because we had Talon. But yeah, I mean, look at this guy. How can you not? I mean, he may be the most badass looking Sith, and it's just how he was born.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
dude. I mean, I know he had to tattoo himself, but when you're red and you have horns on your head, and you have rotten looking teeth, you're about 80% on your way to being the baddest ass looking Sith of all time.
Yeah, I mean, just it's hard to imagine that like any other race of being able to look this cool.
It's great,
like
dude.
Zabraks just have that look, especially red Zabraks, where it's just like you just look evil.
Did we ever meet any other red ones though? Because pretty much every other one is portrayed as that orange yellow.
Yeah, like that orange yellow brown color. I don't think so. There may have been. No, I don't even remember any from Dathomir.
Right, like Jedi Survivor, they're all that brown yellow look. Savage was the brown yellow. He seems to kind of be on his own.
Yeah.
Did he dye himself red first and then put the black on?
I mean, who knows? It is a very singular look in terms of what's been presented to us from Zabraks after that. Like even like Eth Koth is the Zabrak who's brown too, Jedi. Yeah, I mean, it's a super unique look. You could just see the torture, like the tortured look in him. And then the eye, like the Sith eyes just naturally match his visage so well. So just amazing.
Yeah, I'm with
here.
Bat. I think Bat's making a good point here in the live stream chat. Probably the most original looking Sith since Vader. And if you think about it, it would have been last year. We did a special on TPM 25, and the creator of Darth Maul talked about how he eventually made his way to Maul and how he was just trying to do Vader and over again, put him in helmets and masks and whatnot. And then he eventually had the epiphany of being scared of clowns, and we got Darth Maul. So I think that's an astute point there, Bat. All right, we are counting down the 15 most badass looking Sith of all time, be it Legends or Canon. We've ripped through 9 of them or so at this point in time. So who could be next on this list? Let me clicky clack. All right, I'm going to have to rely on young Nick to dive into this one, but he does look pretty neat. He's an ancient Sith Lord with a distinctive forehead adorned with Sith tattoos and elaborate ceremonial armor. Naga Sadow's appearance reflects his status as a dark sorcerer. So look at this guy. I mean, first and foremost, he has 2 penises hanging off his cheeks, and he does have a pronounced forehead, not quite like Ki-Adi-Mundi. He is kind of bulky for a sorcerer, Nick, so lay it on us. What's up with Naga?
Yeah, I mean, Naga Sadow is like, this is going way, way, way back. Like this is a long time ago.
Is he an actual Sith, Nick?
He is a half breed. He is a half human, half Sith.
And they hated them, right, on the planet.
So yeah, I mean, basically what happened is this like after the Jedi schism. So this was after the schism between the Dark Jedi and the true Jedi. Those the Dark Jedi went over to Korriban, and that is where they essentially enslaved the Sith race. Like the Sith race of beings were on Korriban before the Jedi went there, and the name Dark Lord of the Sith came from that race. Like they called Ajunta Paul at that time, who was the first ever Dark Lord of the Sith, the Sithari, and that translated into that. Okay. So over time, the humans would start to interbreed with the native Sith species, and that's how you would get and the Sith human hybrids.
The Sith themselves, Nick, already had a caste system, right? Like,
yeah.
And then the Dark Jedi show up and they're like, no, now you're all subhuman to us, and we're going to rape you so we can get some of your natural Sith juice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like And what I like about these like truly ancient Sith is that they have like this Egyptian royalty look to them. Like if you go to Naga Sadow's Wikipedia page, like the image that they use of him there, he literally looks like an Egyptian pharaoh.
It's like Bat saying, he could also fit in the MCU, you know? I mean, he looks like he could be hanging out with Thanos or something.
yeah, he could for sure. And I mean, like, this was a time where it was literally just like the Sith were at their peak. This was the Sith Empire. Like the Sith Empire was, you know, just a lot of like, it was at that time period where the Sith were a growing faction antagonistic towards the Jedi. And you didn't have to worry about like, you know, rules of two or rules of one or anything like that. It was just like they were out there seeking power. And it was a really cool time in the galaxy. A lot of infighting
too, though, right? Like they'd have uprisings, and that's kind of why Bane eventually is like, you know what? We're all a bunch of assholes. We gotta. There's too many of us. Like we can't coexist because we're all psychotic.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Just a really cool time period. I would recommend that anybody go back and like read the Wikipedia pages.
Don't recommend. Say just wait until Star Wars Time Shows gets it up on YouTube. There you go.
Yeah, we'll get it up on YouTube. Sally and Scott and Sally, they'll give you the breakdown. But lots of amazing lore, like just kind of.
I love this shit, man. I mean, it's like I said when I was putting this together, I'm like, damn, Nick nailed all the good ones here, and now I want to know more about this. So as promised, like I said, once I get through the who's who of Andor. Next up for our AI podcast series is 100% going to be pretty much this entire list outside of Maul and Vader. We got a question for you, Nick, then we'll move on. I think the fans are liking your knowledge in the legend space. Divided is asking, so in the Darth Bane books, was the Sith army mostly the Sith species?
So before the Darth Bane books, was the Sith army mostly the Sith species? No, because at that time, like just prior to the Bane books, it like the Sith species was mostly wiped out by that time. Like there were not a lot of like OG Sith species kicking around. Like you have to go way back to really get into a timeline where there were a lot of the Sith race that were still out there. By the time you get to Bane, most Sith are human. Like that had just kind of like taken hold, like human or like, you know, humanoid species. But yeah, not a lot of Sith prior, like directly prior. You would have to go into ancient Sith time for you to really see like ones like Naga Sadow. The one that we're going to get to next is also like a Sith human hybrid. Well.
Something just reminded me here when we're talking about the Sith species, but I remember that there was a Masasi version of the Sith, and I'm reading it here as a subspecies of the Sith species. They're called the Masasi. So
yeah, they were temple
right. They were kicking around on Yavin then,
and the Masasi were fucking huge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I guess I could pull this up on the screen. People can see, but they essentially look like Red Hulk.
Yeah, like the Masasi were like. It's just really they were like Hulk versions of Sith species.
There you
they
go.
Were massive.
Maybe even bigger. Damn, look at these things. I mean, they look like monsters. They don't even look like they can think.
Yeah, I mean, you can like in SWTOR. So like one of the expansions in SWTOR, and for those of you who are really into like this Revan talk and stuff like that, there was an expansion called Shadow of Revan. In Shadow of Revan, you go to Yavin 4 and you have to fight against the Masasi, the actual Masasi race. All right. Really cool stuff there. I mean that whole expansion Shadow
y'all are going to motherfucking Star Wars history school today. It's all legends, doesn't really matter, but it's fun to talk about. All right, let's keep moving on. Now I got a good discussion there. What does young Nick have to say about this next one? This character is often depicted as a towering figure with dark robes and a menacing countenance. Marka Ragnos' appearance exudes authority and power as a Dark Lord of Sith. And I mean, again, this guy, humanoid kind of looking in some images I found out there, alien looking in others. But really, Nick, I think the thing that he kind of stands out for him are his long robes, his chain he wears around his neck, and then those big ass Loki-like horns on his helmet.
Yeah, it almost like if you look at Marka Ragnos' helmet, it almost looks like somebody who designed Loki's helmet knew this dude, like took inspiration from this character. Marka Ragnos is a character that I was first introduced to. And Matt, if you're playing these games, you're going to get to it through the Jedi Academy game. He is one of your primary Sith of note during that game, because in that storyline, Tavion is trying to resurrect Marka Ragnos.
Okay, yeah, and that's pretty much right where I'm at. You're talking about the first Jedi Outcast, right?
So it's Jedi Academy. So it's after Jedi Outcast. It's the primary one. It's the one that you're playing Jaden Core as, but he may be an Outcast as well. But yeah, Jedi Academy.
I think you're right. I think the one I'm playing is followers of I put Merrick like an idiot. It's Marka Ragnos.
Yeah. So definitely in the Jedi Academy game, probably in the Jedi Outcast game as well. I can't remember specifically. But Tavion, the primary antagonist through Jedi Academy, is trying to resurrect Marka Ragnos, and Marka Ragnos is actually predates Naga Sadow. So like he died.
He's also a half breed. I'm seeing here, Nick.
He is a Sith human.
And didn't someone
well.
challenge his rule? Like they had a duel essentially, or am I crazy?
Or so what it was after his death, Naga Sadow and Ludo Kresh fought each other to occupy Ragnos's throne, Marka Ragnos's
throne. It wasn't Marka. It was the
but he did kill somebody he killed Lord Simus to become the Dark Lord of the Sith at that time. Like honestly, dude, like ancient Sith stuff, I read so much of it just through like Wikipedia when I was a teenager, and like
I mean, you kicked my ass on this stuff. It's not even close. I mean, it's not even close.
Ancient Sith history is just so interesting to me because it shows you the textured depth of the Star Wars universe, where it's like, oh wait, like yeah, we know about all this stuff, but you can literally go back in time and like find out how the name Sith became associated with dark side users. You can learn about why the Jedi schism happened and all of this knowledge. And like the time period back then was so much more interesting because there was so much more conflict that was evenly matched, instead of it like now where a lot of the stuff that you see is an uneven playing field. It's David versus Goliath, and then like David comes up and wins. But it's really interesting to see the history behind all of these huge figures and institutions. So it is the first game.
You are right. It's just the Jedi Academy, and then whatever Jedi Knight 2 was the other one.
Yeah.
So we got
awesome
Joey
stuff.
C. Nick, you might as well. People are thirsting for your knowledge. Was Marka pre-hyperdrive or
no? So the Great Hyperspace War was happening at that time, and that was right around the advent of the hyperdrive. So the hyperdrive was out.
This kid's locked and loaded today, motherfuckers. You better watch out. He's here to learn you. All right, good one there, Nick, covering Merrick Ragnos, a.k.a. Marka Ragnos, if you know how to spell. All right, moving down this list, we're starting to get towards the end before Nick and I reveal our personal top 3. Who will it be? I'm sure everyone thinks dirty, creepy old Matt's going to have talent on there. You'll just have to stay tuned to find out. Because up next, this one is known as the Lord of Pain. He's kind of my guy. Darth Sion's decayed and scarred body, held together by the dark side, presents a terrifying and gruesome visage.
Yeah, I mean, Sion, the first time you see him, you're like, it's just so, like, it's unsettling because you're like, is he a zombie?
Yeah,
he
looks like a Walking Dead.
And then when you like read his lore and realize that like his body is literally held together by the dark side and his hatred, like his hatred is the only thing that is keeping him alive.
So is he sort of dead, but not dead?
Yeah, it's like it's hard to classify him because, like, in a way, you could say, like, is he undead?
He needs lotion. Yeah, good one.
Yeah,
divided.
He definitely has some.
This motherfucker needs to take a bath in petroleum jelly. Like, he needs to go dive into some Vaseline.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a character that is literally held together by hate. And
think about how much energy that must require. I mean, that's insane, but I guess that's what fueled him as well, because we know the Darksiders, they actually get their power from pain, suffering, hate. So, yeah, I mean, he was probably... Didn't he have an attack where he almost blows himself up, or was that just for swaggo? Like he can shoot out like a shockwave almost.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's just a swaggo move or not. But yeah, I mean, this is what it says here. So, rather than die, Sion found that by calling on his pain, anger, and hatred, he could rise from certain death and achieve immortality at the cost of all-consuming agony.
Ooh.
With a body fractured and decomposing, held together only by the dark side of the Force, Sion.
See, Anakin, you little bitch.
Yeah, I mean, like this dude, like Anakin is like,
oh, I got burned.
The pain of the fire. Like this dude literally is only surviving because of pain.
Yeah, he's fucking... This guy's like, the man. Like, he's my hero. Someone that just likes to be that miserable and in pain, I can respect.
Yeah. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Sion, do yourself a favor, go pick up the KOTOR 2 game. You can probably get it for $5 somewhere now and play through it, because Sion is one of the three. It's Sion, Nihilus, and Traya are your three.
Hey, remember back in the day, I think even when you played it in swaggo, that they were a big deal for that one raid. Yeah, you know, I mean, they were the raid. You had to fight the Sith Triumvirate. Love it.
Yeah, he was a hard shot.
He's a good looking guy. That would be a good cosplay to roll out in if you got a good build. You know, just make yourself look all crusty, shave the head, pop in a white contact, and you're going to be the belle of the ball.
Indeed.
All right, but let's move on from the Lord of Pain here. We had the Lord of Hunger, the Lord of Pain. Which Sith Lord will we be talking about next? Uh-oh. This one is often portrayed with a tall, slender frame and an elongated head. Darth Plagueis' appearance is both distinctive and unsettling, fitting for the Sith Lord who sought to manipulate life and death. And I did take the concept art from the Acolyte, so that we are working with live-action canon Plagueis, and it's hard to say a wiry figure like this is badass looking, but he's very Sith looking and creepy, if anything else.
Yeah, it's a unique look for a Sith.
Yeah, he's freaky.
Like it's, you know, you typically
very alien, right? Very alien-ish.
You could argue like the most stereotypical alien look that we've seen thus far, even among like the Sith human hybrids that we've talked about.
The only one that probably beats him is Tenebris, who literally looks like, you know, the black eye aliens from that we dream up here on Earth.
Exactly. Like Plagueis is a person that, or is a being that is definitely not like physically intimidating, because Muns are not physically intimidating. But he is more of that like master manipulator, but has this look to him that just looks like, it looks creepy. It looks unsettling. Like that little bit of a preview that we had of him in Acolyte, where he's just looking around that corner at Khmer and Osha. It's one of those things where it's like, man, that you could tell that there is a sinister presence to him.
And that's one of the shames of Acolyte getting canned, because I'm pretty sure this guy would have been not a lead, but a character that got some spotlight in season 2.
Yeah, he would.
And considering he ties directly into our Lord and Savior Sheev Palpatine, it seemed kind of important to maybe get more fleshing out of his tale. But hey, who cares? We always have books that don't really count, so we'll just go back to those.
Yeah, it's like they count until somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to do moving pictures, so your book doesn't count.
I mean, as soon as Acolyte Season 1 presented this, that shit no longer counts. So here we are. Oh well, such is life in the Star Wars fandom. Okay, here we go. Who could be next on this list? I know we're getting close to the end, or it feels like we're getting close to the end. Who do we have? Uh-oh. With Yorick coral armor grafted onto his body and piercing eyes, Darth Krayt's appearance is both unique and intimidating, symbolizing his rebirth and dominance over the Sith. And I have both forms of this guy. I've got his full armor where he's got a mask. It almost looks like he's trying to pay homage to Darth Bane. But then I also have him maskless where, he's got, looks like facial tattoos, spiked out armor. He looks pretty ripped. Arnold could play this guy. Nick, does Crate ring a bell to you? Because this is another one where I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like he's actually post Return of the Jedi, isn't he?
Yeah, so he was born, like, I definitely know of Darth Crate. I haven't read too much about Darth Crate. But he definitely, his armor is definitely inspired by Bane. And he does have this look of like, it's just such a unique look for a human Sith, I guess you would say. Like typically the tattoos that you see on his face would be reserved for like an alien species Sith, like
dude, I think he was like
Talon.
He was like a Tusken Raider at some point in time.
I believe so. Yeah, it's like he was. I'm just like trying to.
I'm on it. I'm on the Wookiee. He was born 47 BBY and he died 137 ABY. So yeah, he was more in the original trilogy timeline and then into the Mandoverse. Yeah,
like 137 ABY is.
Yeah, no, he's a Tusken right here.
Yeah.
In between these roles, he also served as a commander of his father's tribe of Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, so like he even persists, like
a son of a Jedi, by the way,
is after even the current sequel trilogy. So he lasted a long time. But yeah, I mean the visage is great. He's got a long history. Crate discovered the existence of and survival of Cade Skywalker, so he was around when Cade Skywalker was kicking around and stuff.
That's right, our boy from last week. I remember where I heard the Crate name. I actually think he almost got Cade to dip into the dark side a little bit.
Yeah. So he was
That's
definitely
where the
out
name
there
was.
with him.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Yeah, he was a persistent figure throughout the through the formation of the New Jedi Order as an antagonist into that, and like that's kind of where I read about him was in that timeline. Yeah.
Do you like him better, Yorick coral armor or traditional spiky armor?
I mean, I think the coral armor just looks so unique.
It's pretty. It looks like he's living in a like a monster's skeleton.
Yeah, it's like it's cool looking. It's unique. It's unsettling. Very, very interesting stuff.
All
there,
right.
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Big fan.
Darth Crate. And I think we might have one more on our list to count down.
I think we do.
And here he is. Some people may bitch. He was never officially declared a Sith, even though he said Jedi would call him one. Unlike the bulky armor of Darth Malgus or the extravagant robes of Darth Sidious, Kamir's sleek, simple, and practical attire feels both grounded and menacing. His look gives off a raw, warrior-like vibe, making him stand out from traditional Sith Lords. And yeah, I love this guy. I mean, he's got like that cloak, that creepy ass, no vision, force blocking helmet that's smiling at his victims, and then that gauntlet, and of course, his saber with the little hidden blade. I don't listen. Sith or not, tit for tat. You say potato, I say potato. He makes this list, Nick. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he is one of the most interesting. Like, I think that the way that Kamir was portrayed was fantastic in that show, and I think it was one of the best portrayals of a Sith that we had seen in a while, because Sith are typically very one note. Like Sith are like, I'm a bad guy, I want to fucking kill everybody, I'm a Sith. Like the way that Kamir approached the dark side and Sith in general, or what would be considered Sith, as he would say,
neck snapping,
was super unique. And the mask itself was such a cool addition to this character, because it showed what he put himself through. Like just Osha being in that mask for a couple of minutes, she almost had a panic attack.
He couldn't fucking see. He couldn't feel it. I mean, nothing.
Yeah, like the level of training and like self-deprecation that he put himself through was super unique. I love that. I love the dual lightsabers, one of them being the Shoto style, whatever you want to call it. And just like the very grounded look, like you look at Sith or you think about Sith and you think about Vader, or you think about Malgus, even you think about Dooku with his extravagance.
They're all
like
cranky and angry. This guy was like a slapdick for a while.
But also, like, you don't think about Sith in terms of like them being very, very normal. Like this guy is like, you walk past him on the street and you're like, this is just a normal dude. He could be, you could mistake him for a beggar, for a shopkeep, for anything.
Okay, Bat, we understand you think he's boring and you wanted Starkiller. We get it. I mean, they're literally the same character. Starkiller is only cool when he wears his freaky helmet with his claw fingers. So what's the big difference, buddy? Come on.
Yeah, I guess like that.
Come on.
It is like Sam Witwer's look is really cool, but yeah, I mean they're both just humans that have their own versions
they're
of,
not that much
armor.
different of a character. Let's be real.
Yeah, but no, I mean Starkiller wouldn't have fit in this time anyway. He was way too early. Like Starkiller came much later.
Yeah, we gave him last week. He looked, we forgot about him.
Yeah, we gave Starkiller the love. Starkiller.
He wasn't necessarily called a Sith, I don't think, right? We can't. Let's see.
Starkiller definitely.
as I'm screwing around with Kamir, is he Sith or not? So it's all good.
So, yeah, I mean, I just love the simplicity in this look because oftentimes the most evil are the most simple.
That's right. All right. Well said, young Nick. That means it is now time to unveil this guy's top 3. So here we go. Coming at number 3, Nick had Darth Nihilus.
I love Nihilus's look. I love the mask is super simple, but it's also
those black eyes or something, dude.
Yeah, like just it is a pit of darkness and despair that is only sustained by force energy. So like you are literally like as you are dying and he's drawing the life out of you, you're just staring into pits of darkness. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a look that I've always appreciated every time.
All right, so that's Nick's number 3. His number 2 is Merrick, aka Marka Ragnos.
I mean, Marka Ragnos, I just love the ancient Sith aesthetic, especially Sith human hybrids. I love the elegance and extravagance. I love like the headdress and everything.
They were very regal
that comes from him. Yeah, like very regal. And then especially in his Sith ghost form, like he almost turns like there's like a feral look to him.
Yeah,
like
is that where he turns blue, right?
Yeah, so that's his Sith ghost form, which if you're playing Jedi Academy, Matt, you're going to get to it soon.
All right. Can you play it for me so I don't have to deal with it?
I played a couple. I when I first got that game, I played it through 3 times in full.
Holy shit, man.
Because I mean, the game lets you pick your lightsaber style, so you can choose single lightsaber, double lightsaber, or staff saber, and I played it through in all 3.
Anyone to guess what character model I picked this most recent time around, if you remember him?
Who did you pick? I can't remember.
The Twi'lek that's basically wearing a bikini.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
So there you go.
And Nick's number 1 most badass looking Sith is Naga Sadow.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like that ancient Egyptian look, like that pharaoh style look. I love the red skin of him too, like the actual, like the visage of the Sith human hybrid from this time period, the regal attire. Like this dude looks like he could sit on a throne in ancient Egypt and you could buy it. Like I just really enjoy that Sith human hybrid. That look at that time period. I think it was super unique. It's something that you just don't get now because the Sith species don't exist anymore. And it was of the time, and I just really enjoyed that aesthetic of those ancient Sith Lords.
All right, so here we go. 3. It's time for the old guy screaming at clouds. Top 3 coming in at number 3. My man Kamir. What can I say?
There you go.
I as Nick explained, this guy was great. I mean, he was darker than most Sith while looking like a bumblefuck. But when he strapped that helmet on, man, was he evil, man, was he mean, and did he F up some Jedi. So I love this dude, not to mention Manny Jacinto is a very good-looking man.
Indeed he is.
All right, coming in at number 2 for me, I got the tank, aka Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Sith Darth Malgus. It was very hard for me to place this looking hulking Sith tank over another Darth we all know and love. But when we're talking about just cool, most badass looking, I'm sorry, Vader, I love you, but this guy looks more badass. And then number 1, Mr. Maul. It was tough, Nick. Like I said, I hate leaving Darth out of lists. We've been kind of mean to him the past few months. We really shit on him. I forget which special topic segment it was, but we really just kind of made him look like a putz. But I think Darth Maul is awesome. He was born to look like a badass, and that's all he needed. He doesn't need armor. He doesn't need helmets. He just looks badass. In fact, the less armor and clothes he has on, the more badass he looks. So therefore, he's my number 1.
Indeed.
All right,
yeah, I mean, can't argue there. Good stuff.
All right, that was fun. So now we're going to close out E349, and Sam Jackson, like I said, shoot us your guitar video. I'm trying to learn the instrument myself. I'd love to check out the channel. We probably can't do it live right now, but if you hit us up in the studio and shoot us a link, I would be more than happy to check out your guitar video. All right, so as we usually do about this time to close out a show, we dedicate the final minutes to our fans. There's 2 ways to get involved. We got the question of the week, which goes up on our socials, same places as Ask Us Anything. And of course, Nick's Top 5, which will put the exclamation point on E349. So before we get to that, let's go ahead and see what the fans had to say to this week's question. We always try to ask them something that relates to our main topic. So if you can guess, this week we asked the fans, who is the coolest looking Sith of all time?
There we go. All right. First up, we have Quick Picks Toys. He says, Maul, coolest and most frustrating, with maybe 1 or 2 sentences in the movie. There you go. So TPM Maul. Mando Mugshot says, Darth Maul for me. When we saw him light up that double-bladed saber in TPM accompanied by John Williams' score, it just blew my mind. Yeah, I mean, that was a big moment.
I'm sorry, I missed this one. Sorry, Nick. Nah, every straight dude is gay if they can't admit Chimera's hot stuff.
There you go.
I love that dude.
On Front Street.
I love it.
All right. Next up, we got Rascal Bear Photos. Rascal Bear Photos says that's a tough one. For him, it's 1 Vader,
you
2
cheater.
Revan, 3 Malgus, so he listed his top 3, and he says other cool ones are Bane, Plagueis, Tulak Horde, and Scion. Tulak Horde is another one.
Okay, he got me there, man. Are we talking Star Trek now, Nick? Who the fuck is Tulak Horde?
Tulak Horde is another. This is another ancient Sith. Tulak Horde is actually really hard to find images of Tulak Horde, but Tulak Horde's tomb is in the Valley of the Sith Lords, which you also. For Jedi Academy, like there's some stuff coming up for you. Valley of the Sith Lords, a place you may visit. I'll just put that out there.
But he's just like a glowing entity. He looks like a wolf head.
That's what I'm saying. Is like it's really hard to find images of him because there's no official like I guess there's like no official image of him, but he was the Shad. Like
it just said he wore a black mask and that's about it.
Yeah, like the Shad.
Yeah, the Shad servant Kem Val looks like a badass. That's for sure.
Yeah, Kem Val was one of the characters. Kem Val is one of your
here's concept art. Okay, that's kind of cool. He really does look like a medieval knight in this thing.
Yeah. So
all right,
lots of cool stuff. So Tulak Horde. Tulak Horde was a cool looking Sith as well. So good stuff there. Rascal Bear Photos. Next up, Mark Attack 7. Mark Attack, I think he's in the chat right now. Says outside of canon, I'd say Darth Talon. No reason in particular. Mark.
That's why no Mark Attack had a cure. He definitely responded when Talon showed up. It makes sense now. No shame. No shame, Mark. No shame.
All right. Next up, Nova Toymation says, I'm going with Revan. That mask and light and dual lightsaber look is tough to beat. Yeah, I mean, no complaints there. Revan is a badass looking motherfucker. Dago YJ says Darth Vader. Straight up Vader, the OG. Can't argue with that. Calro Debro, Nihilus,
Duty.
and even though he's not a Sith, TFA Kylo Ren. I'm also a big fan of TFA.
We
Kylo Ren.
considered him. We considered him.
Yeah, we did.
We considered him.
He didn't. He's not a Sith technically, like you said, Calro.
Yeah, we kind of fucked that up with Kamir, but hey, sometimes shit happens. I did forget one from League, Nick. She cheated as well. She had Talon first, Treya, Nihilus, Jesus, Revan, Maul, honorable mentions, Asajj, and Kylo.
There you go. Asajj is another one where it's like, was she a Sith?
Right.
Was she a Sith apprentice? What was Asajj? But Asajj's look is definitely unique and awesome for sure.
Oh boy, chat's having themselves a good time right now.
Yeah, I saw that. Darth.
I gotta keep those comments to myself these days. So,
Mando Pirate says Dooku because the curved hilt and hook, his Sith garb looked majestic too. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, like that's what I was saying is like with Dooku, it's like you're almost looking at like a rich Sith, Like I mean, he was rich. His family
he was a fucking count,
rich.
Bro, for sure, dude. Yeah. I mean, he's royalty.
His family was extremely rich. So, but yeah, man, like always, he's older. He's got that cool lightsaber with the curved hilt, like you mentioned, that he passed on to his apprentice. Both of Asajj Ventress's hilts were curved as well, and just had that like rich boy look to him. So good stuff.
All right, fans, way to go.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who participated in the fan question. Make sure to follow us at StarWarsTime.show on Instagram, on our Discord, or on our YouTube community to catch up with our. So that's the Tulak Horde. Yeah. From SWOTOR. That might be some new because I haven't played SWOTOR in a while.
It just says Tulak Horde heavy gear concept, so I don't know if this is just like a fan creation or what, but
that's probably an armor set that they've released in the game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That looks fucking great.
Yeah, like I'm behind on SWOTOR content now. I haven't played the game in a couple years. Every now and then I go back to it just to catch up on canon, like on the content that they've released and see what's out there. So I might have to do that again soon, but yeah, good stuff.
Asajj was an exploited Sith intern. Good one, Mark Attack.
Yeah, really. Good stuff. All right, so now we're moving on to the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. To get involved with this one, same thing. Follow us at Star Wars Time Show or at StarWarsTime.show on Instagram, and make sure to tag us, tag at StarWarsTime.show on the Instagram. So, to kick off this week's top 5, we have Toy Mazter, ToyMazter.
Hey, look who it is. It's my number 1.
It's your number 1, Matt. I knew who it was. I threw this in for you. So we get Darth Maul here in deep meditation.
As I say, being calm, which is something you don't usually get from this guy.
Yeah, typically not his style, but in deep meditation. I love the posing, the garb, the placement of the lightsaber, the use of atmosphere. I mean, it really does catch Maul in one of his few serene moments, as you said, Matt.
Yeah, no, this is a great shot. This may be the new Hot Toys Darth Maul that just released that I refused to buy because I already got the one. But as always, he looks great. Even in peace, even in tranquility, he looks like a badass. So, great shot here from Toy Maz with a Z-ter on Instagram. This one, I'm so glad you picked this one. I was like, YC Solo very rarely does the tag, but for some reason they did this week, and there was 2 bangers. I'm glad you got this one.
Oh yeah, I mean YC Solo hitting us with the
this is just again a wall hanger, as we like to say around these parts.
Yeah, like incredible Lego photographer, giving us the full scale Hoth invasion Lego setup here. You even got Vader on the field.
So look at the running. Look at the running rebels. Like
That's what I was gonna say. The running Hoth rebel troopers look awesome. You got the AT-AT, you got the ATST, you got the snow speeders, you got all of it up there. And if you click over to the next frame, you got little Luke Skywalker making his way onto the field. I mean,
I love it.
Just absolutely awesome work here by YC Solo.
Oh, he
on
got
IG.
this one in a magazine. Look at this.
Yeah, I see that. He got it.
Check
He's
this
in
shit out.
Lego magazine or something like that, man. That's just cool shit.
That is great.
Cool shit here from YC_Solo. Next up, we're sticking in the Lego universe.
Now.
Because when you see something like this from Tong Wars, you gotta share it with everybody. Tong Wars hitting us with the awesome Imperial Star Destroyer in his typical landscape that he always shoots in. Gets that amazing reflections off the water, the golden hour, and then behind the Star Destroyer, even though the Star Destroyer would have been enough, the three little TIE fighters coming behind it, and that superimposed
it's like a celestial
moon.
body or something up there.
Yeah, like this was just fucking incredible looking, man. Like Tong has the best spot that you could want for a toy photography spot.
1,000. It really is.
It
doesn't look like it's from our planet, and it has all the right elements for outdoor toy photography.
Yeah, just absolutely beautiful stuff here at Tong Wars on Instagram. If you don't follow Tong, make sure you do. The dude puts out banger toy photography on a regular basis. Just make sure to follow. All right, next up, we got Mark Attack.
Mark Attack may be the only top 5 selection of all time that actually sat through
the whole
all 2
show.
hours of this mess.
And look at this. The one time where we're giving legitimacy to the Darth Jar Jar part of it.
Look at it. Smith's even here too. Look, he just popped the chubby.
Did he make it?
He did.
Schmidt make it?
He did. Look at him. He's excited. His boy is being honored.
He got his moment. So yes, Mark Attack, you've had a lifelong fan your entire time. You just didn't know it. It's Rory Schmidt, and he's been a Jar Jar LFG. Homer. There we go. So Mark Attack giving us what we've always wanted and needed. That is Darth Jar Jar.
It's perfect Darth Jar Jar.
Sith get up. And I love how he's got the hands. Like you feel like he's about to just shoot some Jar Jar lightning
Exactly. So I mean, like everyone makes Darth Jar Jar like all dark and goofy. This just throw on Palpatine's robes. It's perfect.
Yeah, it just fits like a glove.
It's great.
There we go. There we go. So good stuff here from Mark Attack.
Look, everyone in the chat now knows that Rory is the Jar Jar guy, the Jar Jar simp.
Everybody's. There we go. They know. They know your style.
That's right.
Rory.
They're having a party for you, buddy. Look at you. You are seen. You are seen.
There we go. All right. Good stuff there from Mark Attack 7 on Instagram. So make sure to follow.
This next one's another banger,
7.
man. Jeez.
I know. This was a strong week. So we're back here, number 5, Visual Horizon toy photo. Visual Horizon is always putting out bangers. Part of that French toy photo.
You're not wrong. This account I've watched since its inception. When it just started, you can tell it's like a lot of us when we stumble into toy photography, we might see it. We're like, oh wow, that's cool. I want to try it. And then because you don't know what you're doing, they don't look as excellent as the people that have been doing it for a long time. But Nick, I think it's fair to say with a scene staged like this, all the effects, all the wire work that had to have happened here, or wipeable poles, whatever. Visual Horizon Toy Photo has entered the next phase of their toy photography journey.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is like 97 parsecs level type of setup.
It's great.
And,
the posing is immaculate. You can feel the action coming off the screen.
Yeah, I mean, just a beautiful work here from Visual Horizon, putting the Night Owls to work against the Remnant Empire stormtroopers. I mean, just beautiful work. I mean, diorama setup, the atmosphere usage, everything that you mentioned as well. True artistry at work here from Visual Horizon Toy Photo. So beautiful, beautiful stuff. Make sure to give them a follow on Instagram. And guess what? That's the end of the top 5. That's the end of our show for this week. Thank you for sticking around, everybody, and talking about cool Sith with us. But Matt, go ahead and close us out.
Thank you. We do like to self-applause here because we're not in a studio and we don't have the flashing sign. So it's been real. It's been fun as always, people. Good to see some new fans in here. Mark, thanks for sticking for the entire journey, not just for your honoring of your photo. We do speak your name and appreciate your time and loyal attendance. All right, my friends, Divided, League, Smit, Be Mad, Bat, Nova, Devin coming in at the end, Mando Pirate, of course. If I missed you, it's not on purpose. We love you. Speak your names. You are what make these Wednesday evenings so much fun. It's not the dumb stuff Nick and I are spitting out. It's interacting with all of you, seeing where we're at, sometimes getting yelled at from randos that show up. You never know what's going to happen on a live stream of the SWTS, but there's always time for Star Wars time. Don't you forget it. We'll be back next week talking about who knows what. We got a new special topic we got to cook up. Unless maybe we just go to the non-Force user, coolest looking people of all time. But it's like, I don't know about that. We might be wearing the coolest looking motif a bit thin. So we will be putting on our dunce caps, dialing in our AI overlords to see what the meat bags want us to spew next week. As always, make sure to check us out on our socials. We do put out clips of the show. I'm hoping to get out another AI podcast from Scott and Sally this week, probably on Bix Kayleen or maybe Cassian himself. We've got a few up there now. We got deep dives with Mara Jade, Dr. Afra, Hondo, the Gorman Massacre, Luthen Rael. All we do is produce content for you all to consume. So get subbed up if you really dig this, if you want a Vader cat next to your name, if you want access to these emojis that you see Divided Skywalker slinging around like a badass, consider joining the channel as a member for as low as $1.99 chop. All right, people, there's always time for Star Wars time. Don't you forget it. And don't you forget that if you listen or watch the Star Wars Time Show, because that's what most people do these days, plans will be announced in the future for you listeners. The Force will be with you always.